Okay. What was I saying? So anyways, yeah, like I slit my wrists up and no, I didn't. I almost spent the night at McDonald's in the parking lot. I went to my friend's house and just like it seems like everything crashed down at once. You know, I had my hopes up because I really felt like this is where the Lord was leading me to, like my calling, but I noticed, you know, right away that it was Satan deceiving me. But also it was a big test from the Lord because you know how tempting it is, you know, okay, sleep with this guy and then you'll have fame and you'll have everything that you've wanted, you know, your whole life up to this point. And I turned it all down, you know, because I realized that this couldn't have been from the Lord. And through like that darkness, you know, even though it was only a few weeks that it was like this, like through that, and me realizing that the Lord wouldn't have me do something like this to reach my calling, you know, that is what I think opened the door to all the blessings that I've received. I really do think that, you know, God gives us major tests in our lives, and that was the biggest test that I could ever imagine me ever having to go through or ever going through again. Because you guys, I don't think you understand how badly I wanted to be famous. I wanted to make music. I wanted all that. But anyways, I, you know, fell into like kind of a little depression mode after this because you can imagine my whole world went crashing down and, you know, it was awful. So at this point in time, you know, I was wide open for spiritual deception. And this is where Satan crept in with the Quran. And it was really funny because up until this point in all my supernatural experiences, God delivering me from everything that I'd been through, there was this like, you know, after I fell into this depression, and I was like, well, who cares? I'm just going to use like a little bit of drugs and drink and stuff and smoke some weed. Kind of fell back into old behavior. It shows you don't let those doors back open because I don't know how I came across something on the internet. Long story short, for a week I was in the Quran and I was like starting to believe it, and up until this point, like I always had a hard time speaking. Like I would stutter and I would forget my words and I would just be all over the place all the time. Well, when the demons started bringing me to the Quran and the truth in the Quran, all of a sudden I had words in my vocabulary that I never knew. I could comprehend things that I never comprehended before. Even my dad on the phone, he's like, wow, Brie, you've really changed. Like you speak so well now. And I literally it's creepy to look back on because there was literally demons around me. I wasn't scared of demons up until this point. Back then I was terrified of demons. And all of a sudden when I was diving in the Quran, I wasn't scared of demons at all. I could be in a house by myself in the dark. I could speak better than I've ever spoken before because I was led into spiritual deception and the demons were making everything around me seem perfect and right, and I was, you know, totally deceived. And they led me into this deception, and since I was so deceived, they kept bringing things my way to show me this is the right path, this is the right path. So for a week, after being spiritually blinded, God intervened and he stepped in. And during this week, I was like, oh, there's no pre-tribulation rapture, and I was falling into like just the things that the Quran teaches, and gosh, I remember looking at my Jesus tattoo and thinking, how could I have ever gotten Jesus on my arm? Like now, I look back at my thoughts then, and it's like how like all the deception that I fell in literally no time at all, that Satan hooked me that fast. It blows my mind. Like now, that's how I understand people are so deceived. I have compassion for those people because they really do believe that they're in the truth. Satan's just amazing at that. He's so good at lying. But anyways, so God brought me Perry Stone, and after this week of being spiritually blinded, it's like God said, no, Allah's not God, I am God, and he stepped in and just blew my mind away and just revealed everything that I had been deceived the past week. And then a week after this, or a couple weeks after that, God opened my eyes. He's like, no, hold on to your experiences. You see how Satan deceives you? Did you see that whole week you claimed to be a child of mine? You see how fast you could deny me? He's like, are you serious, Brie? And I was just like, whoa. And he brought me to Perry Stone. That was the first time I encountered the Lord during a Perry Stone video, and just he brought things into my life that like turned me back towards the right direction. And then he gave me, you know, the gift of tongues a couple weeks later, and then started filling my life with his spirit and his presence. So now, you know, I look back at how deceived I was, and you guys just have to make sure you keep those doors closed and always turn back to the Lord. And you have to keep your eyes fixed on Jesus. Otherwise, you can't help but fall into deception, because that's how good Satan is. He creeps in any way he can, and most of the time you don't know that you're wrong. It's so scary. Like, how could someone go through what I went through in my testimony, and, you know, all the dark places, and God brings me out of, like, every dark pit I'm in, and then it takes a few weeks of me falling back into my old ways, and then instantly it's like a hook and sinker. Satan has me, and I don't even know it. It's just crazy. I don't know. So I'm sorry I'm all over the place. This was like a random video. I wasn't planning on making it, but I just kind of feel like I needed to get that out there. And just let you guys know, like, whenever you face tests and trials, and it might seem like it's from God, you really have to search him, because and always make the right decision, because every time that you make the right decision and turn away from your flesh, you'll be blessed. It might not be right away, but the Lord's opened so many doors for me, and I can't imagine how it would be, my life would be, if I had had sex with that guy and I had gone on that adventure with him. Yeah, it might have been fun and worldly and stuff, but I can't imagine. I'm so blessed now, and I wouldn't trade my relationship with Jesus for the world. And it's so sad that, you know, a lot of famous people do that just for acceptance. So anyways, I love you guys. Bye.